I realized that I needed to get active in life. For competing in the active life games, it's about creating a challenge to yourself. The main reason for me swimming is a stress reliever for me. When I win a race, my soul feels full of joy. Dreams without goals are just wishes.
Come on, kiddo. I just changed your diaper.
Throw them in the trash, don't flush it.
What is it?
In my 25 years of plumbing, this is the worst stench I have ever smelled.
How did this happen?
You fed the monster these so-called flushable wipes.
Monster?
They call it the clog. With 2 G's because it's extra gross. You see, packaging will have you believe they are safe for plumbing and flushable. But in fact, they are not. They combine with other sewage in the pipes and become the clog. This is the monster you created.
I didn't know.
Next time, save yourself the headache and the repair bill and throw those flushable wipes in the trash.
What? Oh my... Tammy, do you see how much this is gonna cost us?
Don't feed the clog monster. If it's not toilet paper, don't flush it.
Okay, got some steak. Let's see what's on TV. What's going on?
Hey, guy. Got some dinner there.
Yeah?
Great. Listen, you mind if tonight we skip the game shows and reruns?
Okay, what do you suggest?
Glad you asked. Just go to Apple TV and type Hillsborough in the search bar.
Okay, done. What's on Hillsborough Television?
Take a look. Hillsborough Television is your connection to the community. They've got behind the scenes of your county in action, celebrations of our growing leisure and business opportunities, and hurricane preparation information.
Wow, I had no idea.
Pretty cool, huh? Now, let's tell them. Just so you know, it really is that easy. Just go to Apple TV, search for Hillsborough, load up the app, and connect to your community.
You know what I like about my morning commute? It's time to reflect. Ponder those big questions. Who are we? Why are we here? Sometimes you just gotta take those bumps in the road and keep on moving forward.
Dude, you couldn't possibly be any more wrong. Stop the car.
That's deep. Like me. I can respect that.
Dude, it's a pothole. I could report it to Hillsborough County right now as a customer service request. Just choose your service and select the issue. Your browser pinpoints the problem, and you can add any important information and even take a picture. It puts Hillsborough County at your service 24/7.
Well, all right.
Let's all properly recycle. Let's all properly recycle. Let's all properly recycle. Leave out the plastic bags.
You may think plastic bags can be recycled curbside, but they can't. When you put recyclables in a plastic bag, it gets tangled in the sorting machine and ruins recycling. Let's all properly recycle.
Let's all properly recycle. Let's all properly recycle. Let's all properly recycle. Leave out the plastic bags.
Welcome to a meeting of your Planning Commission, the official local planning agency for the cities of Tampa, Temple Terrace, Plant City, and unincorporated Hillsborough County. The Planning Commission provides innovative leadership and long-range vision that contributes to the creation of a thriving, prosperous community that offers opportunity, fairness, and choice in how we live, move, learn, work, and play. For more information about the Planning Commission, please call 813-272-5940. Follow us on social media or visit our website at planhillsborough.org.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the September 9th, 2019 public hearing of the Planning Commission on Plant City Comprehensive Plan Amendments. We thank you for attending this meeting. Your comments and participation are encouraged. If you will please sign the register at the rear of the room and turn off any devices that may be a distraction. If you wish to address the Commission on a specific amendment, please sign up at the back of the room on the appropriate public comment sign-in sheet. When addressing the Commission, please begin by stating your name, address, and speak directly into the microphone. For those of you who are not familiar with our process, the meeting will be conducted as follows. The agenda item will be introduced. Staff will give their presentation with a 15-minute time limit. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation with a 15-minute time limit. Following presentations, members of the public may address the Commission when recognized by the chairman. Public comment will be heard for 3 minutes per person. The applicant will be afforded a 3-minute period for rebuttal or response. Planning commissioners will then ask questions. Then upon a motion, second, and discussion, a vote will be taken. Roll call, please.
Powell. Dix. Here. Green. Present. Joseph.
Here.
Kress. Here. Marino.
Here.
Willman. Here. Thrower.
Here.
Wilds.
Here.
Dickerson.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Dowdy.
Here.
You have quorum.
Okay, thank you. We are going to move right into item number 2, Plant City Comprehensive Plan Amendment 19-03. Mark Hudson is the presenter.
Mark Hudson, Planning Commission staff. We have processed 3 plan amendments for the City of Plant City, 1903, 1904, and 1905 for this cycle, and are here to present them to you this evening. Before I begin, though, I just want to give you just some general idea as far as the schedule that these 3 plan amendments are being processed. Of course, we're here to garner your recommendations here this evening. We have a planning board meeting scheduled to hear these same 3 plan amendments with the Plant City Planning Board on September 25th at 8:30 at City Hall. All 3 of these plan amendments are regular scale, so they will require a transmittal hearing, and that transmittal hearing has been scheduled with the City Commission for October 28th at 7:30 p.m., again at Plant City City Hall. This slide is just to show you the general relativity to each of the plan amendments to each other. 2 are located in northeast Plant City, and 1 is located in southeast Plant City near County Line Road. The first plan amendment, as the chairman said, is PCCPA 1903. It's generally located east of North Wilder Road, north of the Interstate 4, west of Charlie Taylor Road, and south of Dan Kendrick Road. This is a little bit closer aerial of that site. As you can see, it's in close proximity to the interchange of Park Road and Interstate 4. The subject site is surrounded by the lavender dashed line. Directly to the west is the Colonial Village subdivision, and directly to the west of that is Stingray Chevrolet, who is the applicant for this plan amendment. Directly to the north and to the east, the property is relatively undeveloped. And of course, this is on North Frontage Road, but also is directly south is the interstate. By way of a little bit of background, this is privately initiated. I spoke to you last month a little bit about the process for the voluntary annexation of this property, which that process is still proceeding. It is 15.4 acres. The applicant has requested to go from Hillsborough County Residential 1 and Residential 2 to Plant City Commercial. This is a little bit better aerial of the site, and you can see the proximity of the site to the interchange of Park and the interstate. The property is signified by the red dot. Again, you can see the Colonial Village subdivision and Stingray Chevrolet, both to the west. I went out and took some photos of the site just so you have a little bit idea of the context of the area. This is, I'm standing actually in front of the site looking west on North Frontage Road. This is towards Colonial Village and towards Park Road. And this is North Frontage Road looking east. I did want to note here, one thing that these pictures do not convey is, and that I noticed when I was actually on the site, is I was surprised by the level of noise generated by the interstate. It seems to be pretty constant with the level of traffic at that location, even with that 6-foot concrete barrier between the North Frontage Road and the interstate. This shows you, this is looking west at the intersection of North Wilder Road and North Frontage Road. These are both collector roads recognized in the county's plan and in Plant City's plan. And I took a couple photos of the Colonial Village and to give you an idea of the development pattern for that adjacent neighborhood. And this shows you the entrance for Stingray Chevrolet, who happens to be the applicant for this plan amendment. This shows you the land use pattern that is adopted today. I'll use the cursor to show you. This is the site surrounded by the black dashed line. On my monitor, it looks like kind of an olive green is the residential 2 in the county, and the light green is the residential 1 in the county. You can see the same land uses to the north and to the east. The Colonial Village has also a land use of R2. I believe this neighborhood was developed in the late 70s and early 80s. As you go further west, you can see the red color on both sides of North Park Road, north of the interstate. This is representative of the commercial plan category inside the city of Plant City. And this shows you how the land use pattern would change based on if this was approved by the City Commission later this year. There are policies in the Plant City's plan and text that encourages the full utilization of the interchange as economic engines. I will remind you that there were several plan amendments on the west side of this interchange in this location, and also on North Park Road and also on South Park Road, where plan amendments change either residential or industrial uses to commercial to utilize that interchange. And the applicant is looking for the same type of recognition now on the east side of the interchange. So what is the general potential impact? Currently, you could develop 22 dwelling units on site. Based on its locational criteria, it could be considered for 112,000 square feet of neighborhood commercial uses. If this was approved, this would increase to 49 dwelling units or up to 230,000 square feet of general or highway commercial uses. We did feel, because of its location, it does require a planned development within the city, and of course, at that point, they would be able to address additional buffering requirements to ensure compatibility between the Colonial Village and any potential commercial uses on this site. We also looked at the goals, objectives, and policies in the Imagine 2040 Plant City Plan, and in particular, we felt they were consistent with these goals, objectives, and policies, and those full policies are located in your packet, but in general, they covered issues dealing with community development, enhance hometown charm, future growth and the processing of annexations, community development, growth management, the provision of public facilities, and economic growth. We also had discussions with Plant City's Utilities Department, and they did indicate that they have capacity to serve this site based on maximum build-out with both potable water and wastewater. Being required to have a planned development rezoning, they will be required to do an in-depth transportation analysis. A cursory one was included in your packet. We did provide this to the school district, who indicated that there is school capacity if there's any portion of this is developed out residentially. We did not receive any other city or county comments. With that, our staff, the Planning Commission, recommends that PCCPA 1903 be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and to forward this recommendation to the Plant City Commission. I would note that the applicant's agent is here also to aid in answering any questions you may have. And with that, I complete my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Would the applicant like to speak on this?
Good evening, Commissioners. Phil Waldron, 2736 Gulf Lake Drive, Plant City, Florida. First, we'd like to thank the staff for their review and their help with this project. We're basically here to answer any questions. We concur with the staff's recommendation and here to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go on to public comment. Any public comment on this item? No public comment? Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner.
Thank you. Mark, the existing land use, the staff report says vacant single-family home. Is that, can you just kind of explain
My
what
understanding,
that
and the applicant's agent could verify this, but my understanding is there actually is a home on site currently, which is expected to be removed. There's no one currently residing in it, but I can look over my shoulder and confirm that. It's been demolished. Oh, it's already been demolished.
It's been demolished, but it's just that one parcel and the whole, that one house is on the
site.
entire parcel on site. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No further questions. Would someone like to make a motion? Commissioner Marino?
I move that we find the proposed land use designation change for City of Plant City PCCPA 1903 from Hillsborough County Residential 1 and Residential 2 to Plant City Commercial, consistent with the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and forward this recommendation to the Plant City Commission.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Marino, a second by Commissioner Green. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We will move on to Plant City Comprehensive Plan Amendment 19-04.
The second plan amendment is in southeast Plant City, more particular west of County Line Road, north of Rice Road, east of South Wiggins Road. This shows you the site that's in question, surrounded by the lavender dashed line. The blue dashed line is the current city boundaries. This parcel, where the previous one was a pending annexation, this actually annexed into the city in 2016. I have a couple aerials, this being one, and I'll say that the speed and the level of development out there currently isn't really reflected in these aerials, so I've gone and taken quite a few photos to give you an idea of how the character of the area is changing. It is a privately initiated plan amendment. I already mentioned it annexed in 2016. It's comprised of just over 26 acres, and the applicant is requesting to go from Hillsborough County Residential 1 to Plant City Industrial, and also to be part of the I-4 Tech Corridor overlay. This is a little bit better aerial, but still a lot has happened since this one. The plan amendment site has the red pin on it. You are looking south. To the east is the development of some industrial property, particularly warehouse, and to the west are some homes that remain in unincorporated county. This is the subject site looking northwest from Rice Road. This is the adjacent property to the east. Again, you can see it is in a warehouse distribution facility, and you can tell by its look that it is fairly recently constructed. This shows you all the industrial development that has taken place, and this has been jump-started by the city providing the area with water and wastewater a couple years ago, and basically released a lot of pent-up demand. And a lot of work is being done out there on the existing sites. This shows you all the industrial growth that is taking place looking west on Rice Road. This shows you some of the homes that remain adjacent to the property in question. These are along Rice Road, and these are along South Wiggins Road. And this, you may recall this last cycle we had a plan amendments, PCCPA 1806, which this board recommended approval for industrial, again going from R1. At that time we didn't know who the end user was, but it's, as you can see, it's being cleared and developed as a new distribution point for Home Depot Incorporated. This shows you the land use pattern as it sits today. You can see the gray color of the city of Plant City for industrial. The hash line shows you the additional entitlements allowed under the I-4 Tech overlay. The gray area over in unincorporated county represents the closed Coronet mine, and then you can see the light green colors of the Hillsborough County Residential 1. This shows you how the plan map would look if the map amendment was approved by the City Commission. I will be the first to say this is not an ideal land use pattern. What you see here is about 12 homes that, for all practical purposes, are going to be surrounded by industrial development. I had lengthy discussions with city staff about what would be the appropriate use in this area. It does not meet any of the criteria for commercial, retail, or office. There was some discussion about suburban residential. However, this quarter is clearly trending towards industrial development, and the thought was we would not want to add additional residents into this area. And therefore, the city staff is working with the developer, particularly do, again, a plan development zoning and to restrict access on Wiggins and to do additional buffering requirements to ensure that this development is compatible with the adjacent residential uses. So what are the potential impacts? It goes from 26 dwelling units that didn't have any opportunity meeting any locational criteria to losing those residential entitlements and adding over 500,000 square feet of industrial uses. Our staff did review this per the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and particularly we looked at community development, future growth, the process of annexation, growth management, public facilities, their goals concerning economic growth, and we felt that all those were consistent with this application. Also, we did talk again to the utilities department, who did indicate that utilities are in close proximity and there was capacity. Based on the PD being processed, it will require, as the last one, an in-depth transportation analysis. There were some cursory comments in there from the city engineer. School capacity, the residential entitlements are being lost, so the school district had no comment, and we did not receive any other comments or objections from either city staff or county staff. With that, our staff recommendation is that to recommend approval of PCCPA 1904 and for it to be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and to forward this recommendation to the Plant City Commission. Again, the applicant's agent is here to answer any questions you have, and that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Would the applicant like to speak on this?
Good evening, Phil Waldron, 2736 Gulf Lake Drive, Plant City, Florida, representing the applicant. Again, we thank the staff for their recommendation. Just a couple quick comments. As Mark mentioned, we are in the process of doing a PD to ensure that we can take care of the problem next door. We are on this PD. We're having the landscape buffering and these things will be taken care of. Also, the access. There will be no access onto Wiggins Road. There's one access point on Rice Road, and we have a cross access with the properties to the east, which are industrial right now, onto the County Line Road. The other thing I want to bring up is actually the overall square footage will be 325,000 square feet. It won't be 500,000, so we're dropping that down to that number. Now stand to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to see if any public comment on this item. No public comment. Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Willman?
Thank you. Mark, just another question about the existing land use map. It's showing that some of the parcels that are colored industrial gray are not all being used as industrial uses, and some are vacant. Why are we showing those as industrial use then? So there are some parcels that are shown as gray that actually are vacant.
You're speaking of the existing land use map in the report?
Yes.
Okay. There are some properties that have industrial plan categories that currently have yet to be developed. They're being developed quickly, but they have not actually been recognized by the property appraiser as being, in use, so they're being recognized as vacant. All those properties, though, that are on the future land use map that have the gray color and the green hash lines are envisioned to transition to industrial uses.
Okay, but so the existing land uses map, they may or may not have industrial buildings on them yet, but they are planned for industrial?
Correct. I mean, it's possible that, for example, this area that we're speaking of here, that they're transitioning had some homes on it, and the property appraiser probably still shows those as residential. But they're applying for a future plan category, and if they're successful in that, there'll be a lag time between when those properties are developed and while those homes still reside there. So the property appraiser would recognize those until such time as those homes were removed and the industrial uses came in.
Okay.
Any other questions? No further questions. Would someone like to make a motion? Commissioner Green?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move to find the City of Plant City Comp Plan Amendment 1904 consistent with I didn't put it there. Sorry. Give me a second. Okay. City of Plant City Comp Plan Amendment 1904 consistent with the Hillsborough County Residential 1 to Plant City Industrial. Wait a minute, are we still? No. Is this I-4 corridor overlay? No, okay, right, okay. And the I-4 Tech Corridor overlay on the 26.09 acres consistent with the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and forward this recommendation to the City of Plant City Commission. Sorry for the long-winded.
That's all right. Motion by Commissioner Green. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Marino. So we got a motion by Commissioner Green, second by Commissioner Marino. Any further discussion?
It's always easy when they put it in the same place, but Mark puts his conclusion in a different location, so that's what I'm looking for.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
The last plan amendment for Plant City tonight is PCCPA 1905. It's located west of North Wilder Road, north of Sam Allen Road, east of Paul Buckman Highway, and south of East Newsom Road. This shows you a little bit close-up of the area. The plan amendment is surrounded in the lavender dashed line. Some of it is already in Plant City, and some of it is a part of a pending annexation. The pending annexation is this portion right here, which I believe is just under 25 acres. I'll have that figure for you in a future slide. And the remainder of the property is already part of the North Park Isles residential development. It has a R4 land use category, and they're requested to make this all consistent with the other areas of North Park Isles with residential 6. I will refresh your memory. Last cycle we had a plan amendment that was in this location. Again, asking to go from Hillsborough County Residential 1 to Plant City Residential 6. Later this evening, I'll be going to Plant City Hall for the first reading for that plan amendment, and it's scheduled for their adoption hearing on September 23rd. The Planning Commission some time ago recommended approval of that plan amendment. I should say found it consistent with the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan. A little by way of background, this is privately initiated. I noted the pending annexation, which is actually a little bit less than 24 acres. The whole site is a little over 86 acres, and they're requesting to go from Hillsborough County Residential 1 to Plant City Residential and Residential 4 and Natural Preservation, all three of those to Plant City Residential 6. This shows you a little bit about how the site looks. Again, wrapping around this and to the north is the previous plan amendment, 1807. And I took a few photographs of the site. This is the subject site that's pending annexation, looking west from North Wilder Road. Has a Hillsborough County Residential 1 land use today. This is North Wilder Road looking north. Give you an idea of the character of the area. These are homes on the east side of the intersection of North Wild and Mayday Roads. This is the subject site looking west, which is Plant City Residential 4. So this portion of it, this actual agricultural production is already within the city boundaries of Plant City. And this is a slide that I used from our previous presentation back for 1807. This is the property that was impacted by that plan amendment, and the property that we're speaking of tonight is actually just south of this property on the other side of the tree line here. So this shows you the land use map as it stands today. You can see the yellow color of the residential 6 for North Park Isles, which is a proposed residential development in Plant City. This is the area that's the pending annexation of residential 1, just under 24 acres. This is the area that has the residential 4 plan category, and of course all this, the residential 1 and residential 4, the request is to change that to be the same land use designation as the remainder of North Park Isles, which is residential 6. And again, I will note that this is the area that is part of 1807 that you heard last cycle. And this shows you how the map would change if this was approved by City Commission. What this map does not show is the potential adoption of the Plan Amendment 1807 here, which again, this is up before Plant City Commission on September 23rd. So what are the impacts of this particular plan amendment? Today you could build out about 273 dwelling units. That would increase to 516. Under either scenario, there would not be the opportunity for commercial uses. It would require, again, a PD, and it would be brought into a unified PD with North Park Isles, offering buffering to less dense areas. In particular, we reviewed the Imagine 2040 Plant City Plan, dealing with areas such as neighborhood conservation, residential development, enhanced hometown charm, future annexation process, the natural environment, growth management, the provision of public facilities, and agricultural compatibility. And we felt it was consistent with those goals, objectives, and policies. Again, we talked to utilities director, and she indicated that they do have water and wastewater capacity to serve this area. Based on the 2 previous plan amendments and this one, which will be unified into an overall PD for North Park Isles, they'll have to redo the transportation analysis for that complete site. In reviewing this in isolation, the school district said that there is capacity to serve this. However, I would say that based on the overall of North Park Isles and all 3 plan amendments, they will more than likely have to go through the concurrency process with the school district, since some of the schools in the Plant City area are near capacity. So not looking at this one in isolation, they would need to go through that process. And we did not receive any other city or county comments or objections. And with that, our staff recommends that PCCPA 1905 be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, and for this recommendation to the City Commission. The applicant's agent is here to speak on this, and I stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Would the applicant like to speak on this? Yep.
Good evening, Truett Gardner, 400 North Ashley Drive, here on behalf of Eisenhower Property Group, who is the developer of North Park Isles. I was in front of you about 4 or 6 months ago on the 2 prior plan amendments. I tried to use the overhead and failed, but I'm going to try one more time just to give you some context. Bad luck for this thing. All right. So the area context, all right, now we're cooking with gas. The area in red is the existing approved North Park Isle, which already has the future land use designation of R6. What I was last in front of you with were actually two plan amendments, this one in blue and this one in yellow. We received unanimous recommendation from you that has since gone to the Plant City Commission for the transmittal hearing. That was also unanimous and will be going back to the City Commission for final adoption on September 23rd. And then the request tonight is actually for two pieces, really to round this out, to get everything annexed into Plant City and to make it consistent from a comprehensive plan standpoint and have everything be R6, which is this piece here and this piece here. And Mark has a lot of great maps, but this one to me just kind of ties everything together with the overall philosophy of what's happening. We concur with his findings. We're here to answer any questions, and I would just like to commend you as a board for having the vision. This is one of those, not if you build it, they will come, but if you plan it, they will come. And when you take a look at the Imagine 2040 plan as well as the Northeast Plant City Area Master Plan, this is exactly what was envisioned in those, and we're thrilled to be bringing these forward. So thanks, and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment on this item? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Tracy Forrest, 2808 Mayday Drive, Plant City. We are directly impacted by this, and I will just say that none of the neighbors are pleased with the development that is happening because it continues to expand. I do have a packet. May I pass these out to you?
Yes.
Yeah. We moved to Plant City 5 years ago. We escaped Valrico. We were tired since 2002 of seeing the massive congestion, overdevelopment, and all of the infrastructure problems that were happening because there was no plan for the Brandon Valrico area. So we found our retirement home after husband retired from the military, and we searched long and hard and finally purchased one in Plant City. The view of the Park Isle subdivision will be right from my back porch. You can see on the hastily sketched out map on the front that the X is my home. Okay, so you can see how this is laid out in terms of all the neighbors that are being impacted. We live on what used to be agricultural land, and I understand that agricultural land is being converted for other use as future generations are not farming. The same is happening with my great-grandparents' homestead in North Florida. I understand that. But on the zoning side of this, if you're trying to maintain the character of an area, the last thing we want to do in North Wilder Road area is to bring in high-density housing. And based on the amendment request, you're asking to put in a capacity of up to 516 dwelling units on only 86 acres of land. That, to me, says very tightly clustered townhomes or apartments. We already have infrastructure problems on Wilder Road. It consistently floods. It finally got paved this summer after people were about to break their axles. We have ongoing speeders coming up and down the road that Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department has not been able to control, and it's not under the jurisdiction of Plant City Police Department. This is like the red-headed stepchild that is out in that area that is not able to be monitored properly by the powers that be. The character of the neighborhood is agricultural at its heart, small town country feel. It's the identity of Plant City. We do know that, or we believe that our property values will be negatively impacted. You have neighbors that are up in arms about it. I'm hoping that many of them will be at the Plant City hearing if you all choose to pass this along, but we are opposed to this additional change and further development out of the Park Isles subdivision. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any for me.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take the rest of public comment. Thank you. Any other public comment? No further public comment. Any questions from commissioners? Oh, yeah, I apologize. Let me let the applicant respond if you want to respond. Thank you.
Sure. Again, Truett Gardner, 400 North Ashley Drive. We've had probably 8 hearings, and this is the first time I've heard Ms. Forrest. I'd be happy to get her name and number and to give her a call. It is not, we're going to have to go through the zoning process as well, and I can't commit to this here, but I can tell you it is not the intent of Eisenhower to do apartments or any sort of multifamily, so this will be a single-family development. They're also not going to develop anywhere near the maximum potential, but this gives more area. There are some sensitive wetlands to avoid going into those and develop more in the uplands. So this will be sensitively done, and I'd be happy to reach out to Ms. Forrest and let her be a process of the PD application, which I think would help her the most to make sure that it's done in as sensitive a way as possible to her. But this does, I would just reiterate, with the findings of the Planning Commission staff, this does comport with the 2040 Plant City Comp Plan, as well as the plan for Northeast Plant City. So with that, we'd ask for your recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Willman?
Mark, is this completely within the city of Plant City, or is there an annexation that would
There is a pending annexation, and I'll go back to that slide just to give you an idea. That process has not been completed. This is probably the best slide to show you on. This blue line represents the current existing boundaries of Plant City in the county, and this area in here is actually not part of Plant City. It's pending, and it has a future land use of Hillsborough County Residential 1 today. The remainder of the property, which already has a Residential 4 land use already today, that this portion, the larger portion of the property, is already within the city.
Okay. Any other questions? No further questions. Someone like to make a motion? Commissioner Marino?
I move that we find proposed land use designation for Plant City Plan Amendment PC CPA 1905 from Hillsborough County Residential 1, Plant City Residential 4, and natural preservation of Plant City Residential 6, consistent with the Imagine 2040 Plant City Comprehensive Plan, forward's recommendation of Plant City Commission.
Okay. Got a motion by Commissioner Marino. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Green. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. That's it? Yeah, okay. That's the last one for the Plant City public hearing. We're going to move on to the Hillsborough County. I'll just start off. Welcome to the September 9th, 2019 public hearing of the Planning Commission on Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan Amendments. We thank you for attending this meeting. Your comments and participation are encouraged. If you will, please sign the register at the rear of the room and turn off any devices that may be a distraction. If you wish to address the commission on a specific amendment, we ask that you please complete the appropriate public comment sign-in sheet at the back of the room. When addressing the commission, please state your name, address, and speak directly into the microphone. For those of you who are not familiar with our process, the meeting will be conducted as follows. The agenda item will be introduced. Staff will give their presentation with a 15-minute time limit. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation with a 15-minute time limit. Following presentations, members of the public may address the Planning Commission when recognized by the chairman. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The applicant will be afforded a 3-minute period for rebuttal or response. Planning commissioners will then ask questions. Public comment will be closed. Then upon a motion, second discussion, a vote will be taken. Roll call, please.
Powell. Dix.
Here.
Green.
Present.
Joseph.
Here.
Kress.
Here.
Marino.
Here.
Willman.
Here.
Thrower.
Here.
Wilds.
Here.
Dickerson.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Dowdy.
Here.
You have quorum.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move right into agenda item Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan Amendment 18-17.
Good evening, Commissioners. Unica Mills Planning Commission staff. The next amendment for you to review this evening is HCCPA 1817, East Kirby Street, west of 50th Street. This is a small-scale privately initiated plan amendment on approximately 4 acres. The site is located within the urban service area. It's also located within the East Lake Orient Park Community Planning Area. This amendment was originally a part of the October 2018 plan amendment cycle and was continued to the April 2019 cycle of plan amendments. Here is an aerial of the site outlined in pink. The predominant land uses in the area are residential. We have this blue jurisdictional line here. West of that blue jurisdictional line is the Hillsborough River, as well as the city of Tampa. On the east side of that jurisdictional line is within the Hillsborough County. Here is the intersection of Kirby and 50th Street. Kirby is a local, undeveloped roadway which provides east-west access to the subject site. I would note that you would have to travel quite a ways to get to the site along this private roadway until you get to the river to reach the site. Here is multifamily that's abutting on the north side of Kirby Street. And here is single family residential that's abutting on the south side of Kirby. Currently, the site is designated residential 6, future land use classification. Other future land use designations that we have in the area, we have residential 20, which is east of the site, residential 6 south of the site. This is within the city of Tampa, which is designated residential 35. We have a presence of residential 35 here as well. Residential 10 also within the city of Tampa. As well, we have community mixed use 35 here. Again, the proposal before you this evening is to change a future land use designation to residential 20. Currently, the site has the potential to develop up to 24 units or a 0.25 floor area ratio or 43,560 square feet of non-residential uses. If the site were approved for the residential 20 future land use classification, there would be a potential to develop up to 80 units or a 0.75 FAR. As far as non-residential uses go, the site would be subject to commercial locational criteria. The proposed amendment is inconsistent with the following policies. Within Objective 2 of the Hillsborough Comprehensive Plan, it has language that speaks to the timing of growth with infrastructure. It specifically says that new development is to coordinate with the provision of transportation as well as other public services such as schools, recreational facilities, etc., in a financially feasible manner. The Site Engineering Division of Development Services is not supporting this future land use designation change, and part of their consideration was due to lack of infrastructure and that the applicant would have to receive a design exception during the rezoning stage. The proposed future land use designation is also inconsistent with Policy 16.16, which states that 51% of development within 1.5 miles along either side of the river should be comparable with the existing development pattern. In this case, I'm going to go back to the aerial. In this case, the predominant land use is single family within the city of Tampa here. There is a pocket of multifamily here, but if you were to go further up the river, there is single family. This is considered single family. It's townhomes along within the city of Tampa's jurisdiction here. Finally, the proposed amendment is inconsistent with the East Lake Orient Community Plan, which encourages the preservation of existing single-family residential, specifically residential 6, and not to allow the further expansion of residential 20 west of 56th Street to the City of Tampa's jurisdiction line and north of Hannah Avenue to the City of Temple Terrace. And based on those policies, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed future land use designation change be found inconsistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the future of Hillsborough Comprehensive Plan for unincorporated Hillsborough County, and that you forward this recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Would
I
they
do
like
not
to speak?
see the applicant present.
Okay. Any public comment on this item? Please come forward, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes per person.
Jan Major, 5134 Puritan Circle. I am part of the River Oaks Condominium Association, which is the complex. Is it Puritan Road dead ends in that complex? Our back of our property complex borders not this specific piece of property, but it joins with the other piece of property already rezoned for apartments. We are in total support of all of the comments already before you in a letter by Mr. Tim McMurray, who represents the new CO community, so I will not reiterate those points. But some things that are important that I'd like you to realize is that River Oaks is represented. Also, myself and others, we've been at this for a decade. We have been part of every rezoning and amendment change process over 10 plus years affecting this piece of property. Our major concern remains consistent and single focused. There is one 30-foot wide access road in. No room for sidewalks, additional safety, turning lanes. One road in, one road out. And the addition of 80 more units on one road in and one road out is a concern. River Oaks actually has 2 entrances. We have sidewalks and more than 30 feet. And so we are a community in compliance. So we are a multiple dwelling community. We are condominiums, owner residents. And one of the associations has already made changes to our bylaws restricting rental. So we are trying to make it more of a family-oriented living complex. Again, we are in support of all the points that Mr. McMurray has already submitted, and we do ask for your support to vote against this amendment with the traffic that will be impacted in our area, as well as the single access road in and out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And any other public comment? Please come forward.
I am Dion DeBerry, and I live at 7802 North 53rd Street, which is at the northwest corner of Kirby Street and 53rd Street. I've been a resident there for 40 years. I've been in the neighborhood since 1963, when it was all cow pasture, and my parents built their house over on the other street, 52nd. I've seen the neighborhood change. I remember when Kirby Street was a dirt road from 50th up to 56th Street. Right now I have to experience heavy traffic, car accidents where they end up in my yard. They're uninsured motorists, and I have to foot the bill to correct their destruction. There's a lot of trash and dumping. I've had to experience and pay for somebody to remove dumping that has been on the property on the Kirby side. I'm representing 4 other people that live on the corner there. The 3 other, one house is experiencing a fixer-upper. I don't know who will be buying that. But one is another long-term resident, and we're all in compliance, and we've been working with the county to get maybe speed bumps up in that area. They've been great working with us, but they won't put in the speed bumps, but we don't need any more traffic there. And there's no space for other areas being built further down. And so I support Jan down in the condominiums, and I support Mr. McMurray's proposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? Please come forward.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Hugh, and I live on 8013 Tierra Verde Drive, Tampa, Florida, in this neighborhood. And like my neighbors have been saying, that we've been fighting this proposal for over 10 years. And the last meeting we were at, it was packed. And I think only 2 commissioners voted with us. And we wanted to say that it's just not conducive to add any more buildings or, homes there, because it's just not safe. We don't have a fire department. We don't have police department close by. I just think we don't want to throw away the neighborhood. So we want to have you guys as a planning to help us plan the neighborhood. Maybe have nicer parks or libraries. I mean, just because one person said they wanted to have this, everybody just kind of voted with the individual. But as a community, we wanted to see something more for our community. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Arthenia Joyner. I live at 7810 Whittier Street. And Mr. McMurray, who is the designated leader for the Nucio community, has been the person that has done an outstanding job representing us for the last 13 years. This has been a long process. I've been in the neighborhood 31 years, and as all of the persons who preceded me said, we just would not be able to adequately live in the community if you allow additional homes or multifamily dwellings in this neighborhood. I was anticipating doing some repairs to my house, but when I thought about the traffic from Kirby and from 50th Street, I said, why should I? If we can't, after 13 years, get this resolved in our favor. Now, the county commission did vote against it twice. Third time they voted for it because there was a hue and cry about a lawsuit in another county of a similar nature, which I understand now on appeal was thrown out. Nevertheless, it is what is best for the citizens who reside in that community. And I want to thank the staff for an outstanding job on the analysis and what effect it would have on those of us who live in that community. And I hope that you will take their recommendation, vote what they suggested, and that the county commission will follow you and do what's right for those of us who live there, because it's all about the quality of life. And that little 30-foot strip that you wouldn't even be able to get emergency vehicles down there. We haven't been able to understand how it got past the county commission the last time, but I'm so happy to be here today to see the outstanding job that your staff has done. They're excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Please come forward.
Karen Mahalski, 7903 West Whitewater Court, Tampa, Florida, 33637. I support Ms. Miller's analysis, as the residents have stated. I'm an activist. I haven't been here in a while, but I came today because I am pleasantly surprised that the staff is supporting and actually following our comprehensive plan. She listed exactly the reasons why this should be denied and why it's inconsistent. Yes, there's probably problems in the past where it has gone through, but now let's follow the comprehensive plan, follow the laws of the Hillsborough County, the planning, how it has been designed, and ensure the quality of services, as they have stated. The quality of services can be withheld and upheld for these citizens, that We're following the comprehensive plan. We're following the community plan. We're not going against the community plan, which is a part of the comprehensive command. And we're following everything as it is stated. Thank you. Ms. Miller did an excellent job. We welcome her great work. Thank you.
Okay, no further public comment. And the applicant still is not present. So any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Green.
I just have a general question for Mika. Yes. Where does, I used to live not this far down, but just off of Puritan a long time ago. So, but I have to admit, I never went that far west.
Okay.
But so where does Kirby actually end in terms of, being an improved street to this 30-foot sort of unimproved right-of-way? Does it occur right at 50th?
Right at 50th.
Okay.
Kirby is a dirt road.
Right.
None of it's improved.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Commissioner Dix?
I just want to follow up on that with Commissioner Green. So the sign that you showed in the picture, Kirby and 50th, it had a private road.
That's correct.
So is it private the whole way?
It is private the entire way.
Which is 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. City before it curves up, right? Round numbers.
So just about, yes.
Okay, so it's not a public street?
It's not a public
All
street,
right,
it's private.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No further questions. Would someone like to make a motion? Commissioner Marino.
I move that we find the proposed land use designation change for Hillsborough County Plan Amendment HCCPA 18-17 from residential 6 to residential 20, inconsistent with the future of Hillsborough Comprehensive Plan for unincorporated Hillsborough County, and forward this recommendation to the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners.
Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Marino, second by Commissioner Wilds. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor of the motion as stated, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, that is it for this public hearing. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you.